I'm going to go ahead and start. So welcome to Adjunct 411, What to Know Week 1. We are all adjuncts here in terms of who's presenting, and we're just glad to be able to give you some information that we think will be helpful no matter how long you've been at SMC. And this, there will be a lot of links and connections on these slides, and we will be posting them after the meeting by tomorrow on the Senate webpage under the Adjunct Committee page within the Senate, Academic Senate site. So if you just go to the Canvas main SMC site and hover over Info For, and then you'll find faculty and staff. And from there, you can look at academics, and under academics, find Academic Senate, and then under that, find the Adjunct Committee. We're way down there, but we are there, and that's where the slideshow will be posted with the active links. But of course, the PDC is recording all of these sessions, and they will be available within a couple of weeks through the PDC site as well. All right, so next slide. So this is sponsored by the Adjunct Committee within the Academic Senate. We are a committee specifically aimed at helping inform and welcome adjunct faculty, and there are a lot of us here at Santa Monica College. So what we're going to do today is kind of popcorn back and forth. We've all become semi-experts on different topics that we're going to present today. So we'll all be speaking, and to get through the entire presentation, we'd like you to maybe put your questions in chat, and we will keep track of those and then try to answer them in the last 10 to 15 minutes. And you also at that point are welcome to do the raise hand and get your questions answered then. But if you want to get it into chat, then we'll be monitoring that. We won't answer them on the fly, but we'll answer at the end. And just wanted to give a shout out to one of our committee members, Natalie Bumbera, who did this wonderful slide presentation on Canva. So if you've never used Canva, this is your introduction to it. All right, so next slide. So just to introduce ourselves as a team, I'm Catherine Matheson from the psychology department. I've been here at Santa Monica for 27 years as an adjunct. So yes, you can make a career out of it. I'm also the co-chair of the Adjunct Committee on the Senate.
Hi, my name is Marianne Borgardt, and I'm also a co-chair with Kathy on the Adjunct Committee for the Academic Senate, and I teach in the ESL department. I've been at SMC, I'm going on my 6th year.
Hi, my name is Kato, and I've been here in SMC as 6th year as well, and I teach at the Modern Languages and the Cultures department.
Hi, I'm John Lynch, and I've been in the English department for a long time, longer than Sarah, I see in Facebook, by about 6 years longer than Sarah. So it's good to be here and good to be a member of the 411 team.
And I'm Ian Colmer, also in the English department, and I've been at SMC. This is the start of my 5th year, and I'm also an adjunct Senate representative.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Bumbera. I am also in English. I am also an adjunct senator, and additionally, I'm on the Faculty Association as the part-time representative for the English department.
So adjuncts can also wear many hats at Santa Monica. So we will get started with the next slide. Sorry, that was good to go ahead. And so our game plan for today is to cover some of the basics, including parking for those of you who are going to be on ground. So yes, there will be issues for on-ground faculty as well as online faculty. We'll try to cover all those. Some basics and some specific issues in the classroom. And then at the end, a little bit of extra credit for all of you if you want to get involved further at Santa Monica College, rather instead of just teaching a class or two, there's ways to get involved and find out more about the college. So next slide.
So let's get started. The week 1 game plan, the basics. We're going to show you some very basic resources for our first week of instructions And the topics that we'll be covering here, dates and deadlines, types of a calendar, keys to access to your classroom and other campus areas, copies, where can we get the copy services, technology, crucial resources about email, Canvas, and professor and smart classrooms. And finally, the parking, where and how it works in SMC. So next slide, please. So the important dates and deadlines. The first thing we check before creating a course plan is the school calendar, of course. On this link above, if you see that on the page, there's a link line there. You'll find some important dates and deadlines, such as the instructional dates, legal holidays, college holidays, and faculty flex days. Many adjuncts work at multiple colleges. Myself, I work for ELAC, Mission, SMC, and CSUN. That's why we call it. We are freeway flyers, but please note that every school district has its own calendar, and that link shows only for Santa Monica College. There's another link on the bottom of the same page. It's called final exam schedule. The final exam schedule, dates and times are preset by college. And we need to give our final exam on these designated dates. For the fall semester, it starts from Tuesday, December 14th to Tuesday, December 21st, excluding Saturday and Sunday. And the finals week comes right after the last day of the instructions. So we are not doing any classes, any lectures during that week. And there are many other calendars we find on SMC's website, but for the first week preparations, we believe that these two pages are very important. So next page, John will talk about how to obtain the keys.
Yes, I will. In order to teach, you have to get into your classroom, right? And so keys are given out, and you have to make a request form and give it to your department secretary. So, classes start Monday. Hopefully, you can get that to her and contact her or him and make sure you get that set up. They're issued by campus police. You might get one of these. This is a fob. So you just swipe and it goes from red to green. If you get a fob for your classroom, you want to go by there before all the students are waiting to get in, because you don't want 25 or 27 students sitting there behind you while you're doing this maddeningly like I did, and they forgot to turn it on, so it just was red. So then I had to go back. And so make out the form, get in touch with your department secretary, and then you pick them up with campus police. So the numbers are there, campus police office. There's a bunch of bungalows on Pearl Street across from the main entrance where you're going to be parking. So next, please. So these are the hours of operations here. There's, if you're teaching at night or early morning, then again, campus police will be there, but you have to call them when you arrive on campus so they can come and open some of the offices or doors that you need to get into off hours, right? So basically, campus police controls this system. So you want to see a department chair secretary about making out the thing, but all keys and signing out keys and lost keys, which we'll be talking about in a minute, go through campus police. Next, please. That's a beautiful slide, Natalie. Thank you. And here we are, lost or missing keys, right? I've lost my share of keys, on a couple keys, maybe 3. But you have to make out the dreaded lost district key report and the form, and you'll get another one. If you're locked out of your classroom, again, campus police, you can't make duplicates on your own, right? And returning keys, if you find a key in the middle of the parking lot, in the middle of the cafeteria, please return it to campus police. And these fobs only work on your classroom door for the semester you're in. So make sure you, like this one's like 2 years old. It's useless except for this presentation. So, and next. And I also am a master of photocopies, almost expert, I think I said, right? So if, you know, most reprographics these days are done online, but if you make these requests through WebPrint, and again, you can click on this and we'll have a copy of this, but this is also on the website that we're going to be talking about. You can go in and put an order in. Like it says here, if you send it in by 7 o'clock the night before, you will have it the next day. And you pick them up at the media center if you need to pick those up. A lot of us are transferring over to making copies, syllabi, things like that. But this is definitely an option for you. Next, please. Oh, my camera just went off. Oh, that's strange. Center, Media Center reprographics, the small jobs, right? You can just drop in there. If you need one copy, original something, you're in a rush, things like that. Large jobs, you put in the order ahead of time, of course, a Media Center. And then large jobs online through WebPrint. Next, please. And I'll turn it over to my esteemed colleague, Ian.
All right, just one extra thing to say, if you are going to submit copy requests to the Media Center at this point in time, they will be available Monday through Friday, but you have to make an appointment to go pick up your copies. You cannot just show up. And on the website link that we've given you, I believe the names of the individuals who will be there each day are available, and you would email them to set a time to come, because the doors are going to be locked and you'll have to knock or they'll have to expect you. So make sure that you check out that the center, the Reprographic Center webpage to get that. All right, now we're going to move on to some other technology issues. We will be talking about mProfessor. I'm not going to do that right now, but you'll be in good hands with that with Ian in just a minute. Did want to mention that most of the classrooms at Santa Monica are now smart classrooms with smart carts, which have a computer console and a keyboard, and they're linked up to the internet, and you can Canvas. You can get YouTube videos on them. We're not completely sure if you can get Zoom yet, but they are also all will have webcams. They've been installing webcams on all of the computers, but you do have to have training before you can use most of the smart cart features. And there is a locking cabinet below where you would access the ports for flash drives and CDs. So you need to get the training so you can get the key to access your smart cart. And so the Media Services Department is the one who produces the training. It's very quick and very easy. They probably may have an online way to do that. I am not sure, but it'd be good to go ahead and contact them through the phone number to schedule a training so that you can use your smart cart fully. All right, next slide. And that's Marianne.
So everyone needs an SMC email account. HR sets that up for you. An email is usually sent to your personal email once your SMC account has been created. If you ever need to reset your password, it does happen sometimes. Instructions for resetting your password can be found with this link. We are prompted to reset our passwords once a year. Usually it happens in the summer, at least that's when it happens for me. This slide you can come back to this resource and click here for instructions on resetting your password. Next slide, please. Canvas training. So Canvas is a wonderful resource. Of course, we've come to love Canvas, especially since we closed down for the pandemic. It's become an instrumental resource for all of us. Some people are more experienced with using Canvas, but if you have any questions or need help in setting up your Canvas shell, Christine Miller is the instructional media specialist in the distance ed department, and she is available for 30-minute sessions on a regular basis. So you can email her to set up an appointment, or go to the Canvas resources to make us an appointment with her. I realize there's no link here. We're going to add that link to Christine Miller. Also, there are lots of appointments, lots of training opportunities for through the distance ed education website. So that link is down here at the bottom. I know one way to make an appointment with Christine Miller is through the calendar section of Canvas. You can click on the calendar and find her under appointments. Next slide, please.
All right, so now we're going to talk about InProfessor, which is an in-house designed web application created by SMC. We do a lot of stuff with InProfessor. So we're just going to hit some of the most important highlights today. Some of the stuff that you absolutely have to do as part of your job at the beginning of the semester. And then my colleague Nina in a second will have links to how to do the stuff that we're going to talk about. We're just mostly going to cover what you need to do right now. Next slide, please. All right, so you're at a professional development activity right now. And if you're teaching credit classes, you can get paid for coming to this. And you'll do that in InProfessor. So it's called Flex activities. These are professional development activities required by the state of California. Again, if you're teaching non-credit classes, you don't have to do them. But if you are teaching credit classes, just in the fall and spring semesters, you are required to do these flex activities. And so in InProfessor, you say what you're going to do and then say that you did it, basically. And then you get paid, which is good. So don't forget that. You also submit your syllabi online at the beginning of the semester. You add your office hours for the semester on InProfessor. You also need to verify your census rosters. These are generally due around the end of the second week of classes, but depending on your schedule, it could be different dates. InProfessor will tell you when they're due and when your census day is. This is so SMC can get the correct amount of money for the students who are actually showing up to classes. And finally, on this slide, you need to, if you're teaching a class that's a prerequisite for other classes, about halfway through the semester. So this is kind of looking ahead. Halfway through the semester, you will submit placement rosters that say basically whether your students are passing the class or not, so that they can enroll in the next class in the sequence. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Ian. So I'll continue with the InProfessor. Some of the other things that we can do with that page. On the InProfessor page, you can view the roster, most updated roster. And also, if you want to add students or drop students, you go to the same page. Sometimes, or most times, students drop themselves, but on their own, you can still go to the same page to see the most updated roster. And after the first day of the class, InProfessor will generate something called authorization codes. We call it add codes. And we provide these codes to each student wishing to enroll in class. And InProfessor also has information about course placement history of each student. That is useful if your course has a prerequisite. Okay. And the next one is InProfessor also shows some key dates, which may be duplicated from the other sites, but also helpful because they'll show last day to add or drop the class with or without the W's, and also the final exam dates. You can find more information about the professor by going to the link, if you see on the right side of the link. And finally, you see the second link on the same page. It says first week guide. Because this link takes us to a massive amount of information, we decided to just create a digest version to focus on some of the important things that we needed for the first week. But if you're interested, you can go to the link that says first week guide. You're going to see so many information about the SMC. Okay, next slide, parking FAQs.
That's me. So you made an appointment to pick up your copies, and now you pull up and where are you going to park, right? So all parking at Santa Monica needs to be registered, and now we no longer put things on windshields or anything like that. You have to get your license plate recorded at the campus police. So the good news this semester is the price. You see that price there? Well, this semester it's free. Hey, free parking. But you still have to register online and put your information in there, put in license plate. So they come by in Orwellian fashion and scope out all these license plates. You will not end up in the chamber, right? So make sure you register, even though it's free. Who knows what's going to happen next fall, but those are the prices that we have with us now, right? So you could pay for fall and spring, or you could pay just for fall, things like that. Because I mean, summer and winter, things like that. So there, all kinds of locations. If you don't want to park near campus, you can. There is shuttles and things like that. If you park in Bundy too, so you have some options as far as parking goes. I got a ticket once because the meter ran out while I was in class, and I'm not special. Next, please, Nina.
Yes, thank you. So let's go back to the week 1 game plan. In this next few slides, Ian and I will talk about some useful information in the classroom. So the topics will be faculty absences, what to do if we have to be absent, and SMC's policy on auditing a course. What about students crushing the course? How about class sizes? And some additional support for students. Next, please. So faculty absence, what happens if you need to miss the class? We do our very best to make it work, rain, shines, but for any reason you have to miss the class, you need to notify your departmental chair and the administrative assistant that works with the chair. And you also need to notify the campus police if you're teaching in person, because police will actually walk to your classroom and they'll lock the door, lock the room, and post the message on the door of your classroom. That's only if you're teaching in person. And if you're teaching online, or even if you're teaching in person, it's you might want to let the students know by sending a message via email. Or what I do is I do email and also post an announcement on Canvas so the students can look at it in timely manner. And if you want to see more information, if you go to the right side of this page, there is a faculty handbook guide, very, very useful. And try to look at the page 51 on the Article 17. Next, please. So course audit, what happens? I'm sure that you'll be approached by students either standing by the door or sending an email requesting to sit in class and audit. But as SMC, only the current and retired SMC faculty members are allowed to audit. And this is a part of our faculty contract. But the ultimate decision to let them in is it's up to the instructor, and it has to be based on the situations such as class sizes or course content or etc. And for the students, SMC does not permit students to audit the courses. Okay, next, please.
All right, so now we're going to talk about students crashing your classes. Crashing basically means when students show up the first day asking to be added. When I first started at SMC, I didn't know what this was. And so where I went to grad school, what you did was send the students up to the department and they took care of it. So I just sent all these students to the English department on my first day, and then the English department administrative assistant returned with the students to my classroom with a very stern look on her face and told me that it was my responsibility. So, so now that we're in person, students probably won't be crashing your class in person, but they'll be emailing you asking to be added to your class. In fact, you should not allow students who aren't enrolled in your class into the classroom because of COVID. So you should tell students to email you or add themselves to the wait list if they want to add the class. And so they shouldn't be crashing in the traditional way. And they're supposed to know that, but you know, who knows if they read the emails. So you should encourage students to join your wait list. They're open now if your class starts Monday. And so, and we suggest working your way down the wait list to be fair and on kind of a first come, first served basis to the students. To add a student from your wait list, you simply provide them with an add code from the bottom of your class roster in InProfessor. And do note that it could take a day or so for students to have access to your Canvas site. Next slide, please. All right, so one thing to really watch out for is that, and we'll get to questions at the end of the presentation. I know Dennis has a question. The system used by SMC will let you over enroll your class, so you can accidentally exceed the class cap if you add too many students. So you want to be really careful about that. Our union has fought hard for the class caps that we do have. Also, right now, there are safety guidelines to consider. Even when there isn't a pandemic, there are fire department codes and stuff. So you don't want to have too many students physically in your classroom. Also, something important to note is that over enrolling your classes, you don't get paid extra for that, and it could actually take away employment opportunities for your fellow adjuncts. So keep that in mind and be careful not to give out too many ad codes to your students. Next slide, please. All right, so now we're going to talk about one of the best things, one of the great things about SMC is the amount of student support groups and services available. We've just highlighted some of the key ones here, but for a complete list, you can click on the link at the bottom of this page. So lots of these organizations provide things like dedicated counselors and tutors for students, like Black Collegians, Center for Students with Disabilities, EOPS and the Latino Center all offer counselors and tutors for students. Most of those programs also offer book vouchers for students. And the Center for Wellness and Wellbeing is another great resource on campus. Especially during the pandemic, not just the Center for Wellness and Wellbeing, but all of these resources are really important to students. If you just started at SMC and this is your first semester teaching, students have been going through a lot during the pandemic, lots of extra stress. And so being able to know which groups or services might benefit students is really important. The Center for Wellness and Wellbeing offers counseling, like mental health counseling. And there's a 24/7 emotional support hotline here that can connect students with a dedicated counselor for emotional support. And that counselor is affiliated with the SMC Center for Wellness and Wellbeing, which is really nice. Also, the Veterans Resource Center can help active duty military and veterans navigate the resources that are available for them. Next slide, please. There are also tons of tutoring centers on campus, so check out this link and see which ones might be appropriate for your classes. Students can get Chromebooks for free, loaned out to them from SMC right now. They're still available. So if a student asks you about that, you can email Elise Juarez, whose email address is right here. Just send her the name and email of the student and she'll take care of the rest. Also, I mean, I send out an email to my students asking them if they needed Chromebooks, so I can, that's another thing you might want to try. Next slide, please. And so then SMC's also compiled all these lists of resources available. So these contain lots of things that might be helpful for students from government agencies or outside organizations, as well as from SMC. So definitely check out these guides. These are just some of the highlights. Again, there's a link to the full list at the bottom of the page. Next slide, please. And another wonderful thing about SMC is how they handle students in crisis. I know at my other college, I have to like work with my department chair to figure out where to send a student on campus. But at SMC, there's a care and prevention team that's made up of people from across departments and offices on campus. So they know where to refer your students. So if your student discloses something like they're struggling with homelessness or suicidal ideation, that's not like an immediate emergency, or they're otherwise experiencing distress or displaying alarming, problematic, or disruptive behavior, notify the care and prevention team. The Center for Wellness and Wellbeing isn't operating on ground right now, or they're not, I don't think they're physically accepting students, but in a post-pandemic world, if we ever get there, it's a good idea to walk your students there if they're distressed, to make sure that they get there and receive services. Of course, if it's an emergency, this is all if it's not an emergency. If it's an emergency and you're on campus, call campus police. Their number's at the bottom of this slide. So you might want to put that number in your phone. You can also dial 4300 from a campus phone for campus police. And next slide, please.
All right, so we also wanted to mention one other student group that does need support, and that is students with disabilities. We have a wonderful center for students with disabilities in the student support building, student services building, the new building on campus on Pico and 20th. And they will handle any student needs for accommodations. It's probably good to put in your syllabus that students should contact the center at the beginning of the semester to arrange for accommodations. We don't do that for them. They do that for themselves. The center determines what accommodations are appropriate. So you can give students the phone number and the email. They have a variety of programs, including a learning disabilities center, and they will provide, they will notify you once the student contacts them, usually through email, of what accommodations the student is allowed. And the most common one is extra time on exams, which if you're on Zoom and Canvas, it's easy enough to fix a Canvas quiz or exam to make extra time for just a single student through moderating the quiz. But also there are note-taking services on ground. Often they'll send someone in to take notes. And now on Canvas and Zoom, many students are being allowed to use a new transcription service called otter.ai, which automatically records and transcribes for them. So you don't have to worry about that, which is wonderful, because I started out with some students trying to fix my own transcripts from Zoom, and oh, it took hours. So if you need to do corrected transcripts, you can contact the Center for Students with Disabilities to get help with that. They have a wonderful transcriber named Erin French. But also interpreting or captioning services, then they can help you with that and other assistive technologies. So it's a great place to know about. If you have students on ground who need extra time, they have the DSPS or Proctoring Center, where you will send students to take their exams at the Proctoring Center rather than in your classroom. Next slide.
Okay, so I'm going to be covering extra credit and additional opportunities along with Marianne and Kathy. So these are kind of ways, once you're settled into your department, to get further involved in Santa Monica College. So we'll talk about ways to get involved at the department level, which include meetings or work groups, at the faculty level, which include academic senate and adjunct committee, and we'll define what exactly goes on in those places. And then at the union level as well with faculty association. All right. So one of the kind of first ways you want to think about getting involved in your sort of broader campus community is at the department level. So our department meetings are not required for adjunct faculty.
Actually,
However,
Nat, I do need to say one thing I checked in the contract. We are, as adjuncts, required to attend one department meeting in a semester, but because we're all freeway flyers, if you can't, then you can let your chair know and you can be excused. But you should, if you cannot attend any of the meetings, let your chair know. Just had to throw that in there.
Great point. Yeah, thank you. So basically what you want to think about doing is, yes, you want to make that sort of first meeting or that one meeting that is required. However, you also really want to think about attending as many of the meetings as is feasible for your schedule, because this is going to help you stay connected to changes that are happening in your department. So some of these are going to be things like different courses that are going to be available to teach at different semesters. This could be things like how enrollment is doing overall, so you get a better sense of how many classes will be available in future semesters. Another really great reason to start attending your department meetings is because they count towards flex time. So again, today's professional development day counts towards your flex time, so it counts towards your service to the college. However, the department meetings as well, you're getting information for yourself and then you're also fulfilling that flex time. So it's kind of a 2-for-1, which is great for us because we're all super busy, obviously. And then the final really sort of good reason to attend your department meetings is obviously it shows dedication. I really recommend, actually, rather than just attending in your pajamas with the screen on blank, show yourself, make sure people get to know who you are. You'll also get to see the people in your department. You'll get to hear their perspective on different issues, and you'll show that you're dedicated and interested and kind of ready to take on a little bit more responsibility. Okay, and so the final thing I'm going to cover here is at the faculty level, you can also attend academic senate meetings, and these are another way to kind of branch out into the community and sort of get involved with what's going on at SMC. So academic senate meetings typically address issues related to academic matters. So this includes approving courses, getting to hear what goes into making a sort of an excellent course offering. Also some of the offerings that we're going to make available to students at some point in the near future, as well as professional development opportunities. So for example, through attending academic senate, I heard about a faculty research opportunity, and I'm currently working on faculty research now as a result of being present for that. So it's a really good thing to just kind of go to at least once a month if you can make it. Finally, Academic Senate also focuses on hiring incoming semesters as well. So this is a good way to kind of hear what's going on at the school and the department, which areas on campus will be hiring soon. Academic Senate, in case you are someone who is very sort of new to the SMC and the sort of academic world, basically Academic Senate is a governing body that basically makes recommendations to administration from college. So from the perspective of professors, from the perspective of administrators to the governing board, which then turn into changes on the ground for us and our students. Meetings occur the second and the fourth Tuesday of each month from 11:15 to 12:25. And then you can always attend Academic Senate meetings too, whether or not you're actually an academic senator. It's totally open to the public. And so if you want to access one of the links, you would just click on this link down here, Academic Senate homepage. This will take you to the agenda. And then right at the top of the agenda, there is a link to actually hop on the Zoom call for Academic Senate because we're virtual right now. Right. So now I'm going to hand it over to Marianne, who is going to be talking about another potential opportunity to get involved.
Well, I want to give everyone a big welcome to our adjunct committee meetings. I know we're running low on time, so I'm going to just tell you very quickly, we meet once a month. Kathy and I chair those meetings, and we bring a lot of information to the adjunct group that comes. And it's a great place to meet adjuncts in other departments. You'll learn about issues that are happening at the college, discussions that are happening at high levels. And it's a great place to ask questions and share experiences. So I will send out a monthly letter inviting everyone to those meetings about a week before them. And I will include the agenda as well as the minutes from the previous meeting. The agenda always contains the Zoom link. Our meetings are the first Monday of every month. Our first one in September falls on the 13th, only because the 6th is a holiday. We meet from 2:15 to 3:15, and we know not everyone is able to attend. Some people teach during that time. However, we do share the minutes on the adjunct committee homepage. But rest assured, all adjuncts will get an email from me at the beginning of each month to invite you to our monthly meetings. I hope to see you there. Next slide.
All right, I'm going to talk about one more opportunity, but before I do, I noticed that we actually have the Academic Senate President here on the Zoom this session with us. Jamar, did you want to say hi? Or am I putting you on the spot too much?
No. It's fine, Catherine. But yeah, I did want to stop by and just sort of be with you all because I was adjunct as well. And I know we have career adjunct folks, and, you know, I really appreciate the work, and I know it's sometimes not thanked, right? So one of the things I kind of want to say as well is, if you want to get involved with the Senate, I'm looking for as many representatives as possible. I'm completely open to sort of ideas and stuff coming from any constituency on campus. And, you know, I know the Senate sort of is here to represent faculty, but I know we also have to be careful about representing our part-time faculty as well. So concerns of the adjunct committee, definitely bring them to the Senate so we can know how we can make your work life and experience better here at SMC. So thank you. And great. I wish I would have been an adjunct and had this.
Well, thank you, Jamar. Okay. Another plug for going to both the adjunct committee meetings and the full Senate meetings. Get involved, and it's great to find out what's going on. So then I'll segue into the final piece of the puzzle, and that is our union, the Faculty Association. We also do encourage attendance at the regular Faculty Association meetings every first and third Thursdays of the month, also at 11:15. This 11:15 time on Tuesdays and Thursdays is the activity hour, when it used to be that no one taught during that time, but there were clubs and groups and other governmental meetings going on, and now many of us teach during this time or are teaching at another college. So it's a little hard sometimes to get to these meetings, but you can go to this website, the Faculty Association website, which is off of the main SMC website. It's separate. And if you don't get this link, it's smcfa.org. And there you'll find the full contract. You'll find all sorts of resources for adjunct faculty. Our union is very, very adjunct friendly. So also you can contact me if you have questions about that. If you have any issues about evaluations, assignments, payroll errors, sick leave benefits, things like that, the union is the place to go. So keep that in mind as well. Thanks. Next slide. All right, so that is our presentation, and we actually have just a few minutes now to answer some questions. So John, did you find anything in there that we haven't yet answered?
You guys are great. I mean, as soon as the questions came up, they were being rifled back. So my horse is signed up for a USCK 5K event is not considered a flex event, but good try, right?
No,
But I think
Dennis has a question.
Yep.
All right, yeah, why don't we let Dennis ask his question? He's been waiting so patiently.
Okay, I'm in a special situation in the music department. We have an audition-only class that is basically to audition the first night of classes. But I've been told that the class will be cut if I don't have 18 people enrolled. Now, I'm not going to enroll people who I haven't heard audition, who I haven't heard to audition. So we've discussed it in the music department, but nobody seems to know quite what to do. Can you help me?
Well, unfortunately, not during this presentation, but I would contact Melissa Pardo at the union to ask. I know there's been a lot of talk about what happens this semester, particularly about cutting classes if they are low.
It's a singing class, and we have a, we do have a problem in that people don't want an on-ground singing class where they have to sing with a mask on. And so there should be some dispensation at least for the amount of people we can get into the class. I've been scrounging and actually giving scholarships to the class for which I'm going to pay in order to keep the class alive. Because if I lose this class, I lose it for the next, for my next, I can't afford it. I won't be able to pay my mortgage. So who was it I'm supposed to do?
One person you can contact is our administrative assistant, but I think maybe Michael has something to say about this. Michael, I'm assuming that's why your hand is up.
Yeah, have you talked to the new vice president of academic affairs? I would go straight to him and talk to him about the situation. He'll probably give you a few days because he's new and he just wants to get into the feel of things.
What's his name?
Oh,
Bradley
God.
Lane.
Okay.
Yeah, Lane.
So
He's in the chat.
And number two, they are allowing students and staff to wear face masks with shields on the bottom so that you can actually watch them speak or sing and hear them and still be protected.
Right. Well, I'm aware of that, but it's still the idea of anybody having to wear a mask while they're singing that is distasteful to anybody who is an advanced singer already.
Yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to stop because we may have other questions, but do contact Bradley Lane.
Okay, thank you.
About this definitely right away. So I also see Lisa has a hand up. Lisa, are you there?
Hi, sorry.
No problem.
I'm looking at right now, let me find it again. I'm looking at the Academic Senate site on the SMC webpage. And I'm looking at something that says Senate agendas and minutes. Is that where this PowerPoint or this Canva presentation?
No, if you're on the Senate website and you
Yes.
look over on the left at the list of committees,
Yes.
all the different committees, you should see Adjunct Committee at the very top.
Correct, correct.
That's where you'll look.
Okay, so I'll look there and I'll see, it's a Canva
Well,
presentation.
it'll be a web PowerPoint presentation,
it will
but it's not there yet.
It will actually be a PDF of the Canva presentation.
Great,
So all the links will work. It will be there as of tomorrow.
Great.
We're gonna probably add one or two other things to it. Maybe it will be there tonight, but I'm promising by tomorrow. I
Okay,
will
great.
be the one putting it on that website. I put the link in the chat for the Adjunct webpage on the Academic Senate.
I see that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And it will also be recorded and put on in a couple of weeks, but those links, then you won't be able to use the links in the
Right, I
report.
just want to take them back to Emeritus. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Thank you.
And Daphne,
Yes. I think a year ago, I received an email that if I already have been teaching in another institute, I can get credit for that in terms of payroll. Is this still available?
only when you're first hired.
So the same year I was hired?
I believe so. I'd have to look that up in the contract to see what the limitation is, but it's usually when you are hired, you can present evidence of earlier of experience teaching. And there are some limitations on what can be counted. So you can try going to the smcfa.org website and the contract is there.
Okay.
And I don't know if I can tell you really quickly which section it is, but there's usually a table of contents and you should be able to find a section on advancing steps in salary.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right, any other questions? All right, and we came out 1 minute to spare. Woohoo! So thank you all so much for attending, and really be sure and come if you can to the first Monday meetings of the Adjunct Committee. There we can get a lot more questions answered and bring up a lot of issues and share best practices and do all sorts of things. It's a very informal, enjoyable committee, and we used to provide food when we were meeting in person. So fingers crossed, eventually we'll get there again. All right.
Don't worry about not knowing something. Ask some questions.
Yes,
All
yes.
adjuncts, we're for adjuncts, by adjuncts, we've all had the same issues.
And some of us have been here many years and still don't know a lot of things. So
Like me. Oh, yeah.
we're learning from each other. That's what we're all about.
Did you look at me when you said that?
No, I'm referring back. I'm self-referring. All right. So thank you all. I hope you had a successful day and got some flex hours in. Be sure to report those through mProfessor because you get credit for that. And remember, you do get paid for office hours here too. That's something the Faculty Association has made possible. So, and they're required. All right.
Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome. I officially declare this session over. I'm not going to stop it quite yet, but if anyone wants to hang on and ask a couple more questions, we can do that.
Great job, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate
you
the
all.
PowerPoint too. Thank you.
Great, you're very welcome.
Okay, I'll say hello to the horse.
Yes, please do.